Hi everyone. So I'm doing this a little bit differently. This is for the Twin Flame Divine Connection Collective and this full moon in Cancer. I will be doing astrology videos as well as frequency videos. But I wanted to kind of lean in to the collective a little bit. So I'm going to do an overall theme. I'm going to describe that. I'm going to talk about things that may or may not resonate. Just take whatever feels right to you and leave the rest because it could be for somebody else. There will be an extended where I go into specific themes for the divine feminines and masculines, as well as soul connection aspect and the physical union aspect. That will be for my Patreons, or if you want to purchase the video separately, both links are in the description box below. I was going to be on camera for this, but my other phone is charging because I use two phones when I do that. So my astrology and frequency one, like energy ones, I will be on camera for because something has shifted. I don't know if you guys can feel it. I've been going through a lot of different breakthroughs, especially when it comes to my masculine, and understanding where the masculines are at. They are not behind us. They are if we look that way. Okay. So in our multidimensionality, we are traversing a multitude of different hierarchies of energy. Okay. So sometimes we're in the lower frequency realms. For those of you who have been doing the work, you feel how that feels. It doesn't feel good. And we purge out. And I'm gonna do a video with my friend Colleen about this, okay? But understand that there are many versions of you. There are many versions of your person, and whatever version you're tuned into is the one that exists in your present moment. But I don't want to blow too many people's minds. We're gonna just let spirit talk to us right now and talk about the overall energy of this full moon, of the next 2 weeks, and how that's all going to flow. Okay, so I'm going to look at what's closing out for the collective, what we're continuing with, what we're opening to, the challenges that we'll meet, as well as the support that we'll receive. Each one for closing, continuing, opening, I'm going to look at what's coming in from the higher realms and how we're going to experience it in the physical. Okay. I don't know how this is going to translate. These are the ideas that come to me, and then I just kind of roll out and hope for the best. Okay. So the overall, this is interesting. Okay, they're already taking me to a different deck. Fine. That's fine. Okay. They want me to use, this deck. Overall for the Twin Flame and Divine Connection Collective, I do feel like we are going to see some people come into union very quickly. It won't be everybody, and it's all divinely timed. So it's not like, if you know people that come into union in the next little while, it's not because they did more work than you. It's just the timing of things and what they designed for themselves. Okay. We're kind of coming out of the whole, blame and shame kind of game. Okay. I keep saying K a lot, and I apologize. That's kind of irritating me. I can't imagine. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. I can't imagine how that sounds for everybody else. Transformation with the nodal change, with it being so watery, and there's a lot of energy in like the asteroid, all the asteroids, astrology. There's a lot of Scorpio. We've got a lot of water. We've got a lot of intuition, a lot of emotion, a lot of sensing, a lot of, moving, and a lot of movement energetically from the emotional plane. So there is something for this collective that is going to be massively transformative. And I feel like all we need to do is lean in. But I want to look at, we've got growth. Not a surprise, okay? I feel this transformation, however, is going to create some kind of stability for us, even though it doesn't feel very stable right now. I feel it's releasing, it's having us have, it's, for me personally, it's bringing me to a place of being so confident in myself that I've created my stability no matter what I'm experiencing. And that no one can take that away from you, no matter what. So I feel like that's a interesting place to be. So let's take a look at what we're closing out with this cycle. Oh, interesting. That's wild, you guys. Longing for love. We're closing that out. Closing it out. Anybody else excited about that, or is that just me? Because it doesn't matter if you're the divine feminine or divine masculine. What has brought us into this journey with such vigor, is the best word I can find right now, is that feeling of love and how much we want that in our lives, but we've been longing for it. And we've been bombarded with the absence of it, and not just with our person, but where it's been in our lives. It's been sort of reflecting back to us where we've been releasing all of that stuff, like where we need to release certain things that keep us playing in these sandboxes that are absent of love. So very interesting. What is coming in from the higher realms with this in regard to loneliness? In regard to longing for love, because this is what we're closing out. We're closing this out. So how will we be supported from the higher realms? Because this is a higher realm connection, okay? Deep love, birth as a portal, okay? Energetically, this feels like an infusion of love. So it could have certain, oh, I love this. We have, you're not alone. I'm going to see how this plays out in the physical in just a moment. But what's very interesting about, because sometimes I'll have that, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I suspect it's coming up because some of you have, where I just feel so in flow and loved and empowered and just at ease. And it sometimes makes the rest of my life, the other relationships in my life, it makes it a little bit more difficult because there's an absence of love in those places. Do you know what I'm feeling? Do you know what I'm putting down? So I feel like from the higher realms, it just looks like, you know, you stand under a waterfall and you're just poured over with love. It feels like that, okay? For some of you, it's going to be emotional. For some of you, you're going to feel emotional about that. Partially happy that you're feeling the love, feeling connected to source, and feeling connected to our person or our person's higher self is one and the same. It feels that same sense of belonging. It feels good. It feels accepting. So I don't know. Okay, so how is this going to translate in the physical for us? Yeah. Transformation. Thank you. Because you know what? Interesting. It might bring up some dark thoughts. Sometimes when we are imbued with a higher frequency energy, sometimes when, like, think about when this person came into your life, it changed everything. It changed your entire perception of yourself and the world. Some of you, it made you, if you were like me, it made you obsessive to try and figure it out, and you learned so much in that. For some of you, it's just something that never goes away. Like, it changed everything. So I feel like we're closing out this longing for love by embodying that love in some way. It's going to be different for each and every one of you how you do that. Is it more self-love? Is it loving yourself, your journey, your person? Is it accepting everything that's happened and just letting it go? It's going to be different for everyone, okay? So however you go about that, I don't think we have a choice. I don't think we can mess this up, okay? All right, let's take a look at what we're going to continue working with right now. What we're going to continue working on as a collective. Oh, interesting. Okay, we've got imprisonment, so persecution and judgment. Let me tell you. Okay, I'm going to take, we have intelligence, mental action, right thinking. This is a correction. There's this, I don't know if you've ever heard the story about an elephant, right? Like when they used to train elephants when they were a baby, they'd put a big heavy chain on them and they could never break free, so that when they got to be an adult, they could put like this little string on it and the elephant would never break free because it's been conditioned to believe that it's trapped. Okay, that's the first energy that comes through. For the twin flame and divine connection, we're going to continue to work through the ties that bind us and make us small. The second line of energy that comes in with this is so interesting, where they want me to go back to the ties that bind, and then I'll get to the second line of energy, where we have felt trapped by this connection, where we have felt trapped by circumstances beyond our control. Intelligence, mental action, right thinking, not conditioned thinking, not programmed thinking. What is the right thinking for you? How do you get yourself out of this mental imprisonment? Because it's something that's been conditioned to believe. Like, if you have any beliefs about love and relationships, your dance with your person would have reflected that back to you in some way. Sometimes it's hard to suss out what is actually transpiring, but if you've been on this journey long enough, you get really good at seeing how this connection, your reactions and responses, are showing you where you've been conditioned, okay, where you've been programmed, where you need to release all of that, right? The second line of energy is where we are afraid of being persecuted and judged for being ourselves, for loving our person, for being a part of this journey. How many of you freely tell people that you're a twin flame? And when you think about doing that, how do you feel? Here's the thing, you're going to judge to assess, okay? But you're not going to judge yourself or criticize yourself. You're just going to gain awareness through this. I still struggle with it, and I talk about it fairly freely, but I don't sit at the dinner table with my parents and have this conversation with them. That doesn't happen. There's a fear of persecution, but I have to tell you, the processes, the breakthroughs I've had over the past 48 hours have been monumental. I want to talk a little bit about people that are generally twin flames or divine connections, okay? People that have evolved souls. This isn't a we're better than everybody else. This is just an understanding of how life has been for us, because our light is very high frequency. Our soul is high frequency. Doesn't matter how we've behaved. Doesn't matter if we were unconscious or conscious. Our energy is a higher vibrational frequency that irritates people. So from a very small age, you were probably persecuted just for being yourself in some way. You were shut down. People tried to control you. They wanted to minimize you. I can't tell you the amount of times when I was a child, a teenager, even as an adult, where I'd be laughing and somebody would tell me to shut up because I'm too loud. Imagine your laugh being so triggering to somebody that they tell you to shut up. Okay. So I feel like we're going to continue to break free of those confines, because the less we worry about what other people think, the more we can embody who we really are, and that will only ever bring us closer to our energetic connection, as well as our own physical relationship with our person. Like, when we can actually stand in the power of who we are and be proud of that, right? There's something really beautiful with that. Okay. There was something, oh yes, okay, hang on. I hear you, okay. So when I was looking at the astrological stuff, I just want to bring this up because I don't read a chart like I normally read a chart, but because this is the twin flame stuff, I'm going to bring this up. So for the collective, there were so many placements that had 59 seconds in the degrees of where certain planets, the sun, moon, Mercury, and Lilith. This is transparency and vulnerability. So be proud, but don't let pride build up barriers to love and condition. Change requires the alchemy of two people in this case. Leave the past in the past, and the truth can only be found when honesty is revealed both ways. I feel partially with this collective that in the deep indoctrinated belief systems that somebody needs to be blamed, there's been this constant energy of, well, blaming ourselves as divine feminines, or blaming our masculines, or blaming the karmics, or blaming spirit, or there's been blame, but blame just constantly creates separation, and it disempowers us to reclaim the love and the truth of the connection, okay? I'm not saying timing isn't a bitch, because it is, but there is something here where we are being asked to be vulnerable and honest with ourselves about where we are at and what our beliefs are about ourselves, about this journey, about love, about relationships. We're going to continue to take these bars off and free ourselves in some way. The masculines do it too. Okay, it's not just divine feminines. I just normally have more divine feminines watching. Okay, so how are we getting help from the higher realms with this? We have big picture thinking, right? Visionary, inspired ideas. We aren't small potatoes. I have yet to meet a divine feminine that I've worked with that's a small potato. No, we aren't. And I actually had this conversation a little bit with my dear friend Kara today, where we kind of talk about how we're afraid to be seen. And that's because we were persecuted so much. We were picked apart. We were judged. And if you're sensitive, you feel all of that. It's very uncomfortable. But at some point, my Aries sun, probably an Aquarius moon a little bit, came in and said, we are so much more powerful that we just have to remember how powerful we are. Nobody gets to take this away from us. But sometimes in the conditioning, sometimes in the fear, we focus on those little details that we don't have any control over. What's the big picture of your connection? Okay. What's the big picture? What's the vision with this? And is it worth it all? Right? Yeah. This is how it's going to formulate in the physical, right here. It's going to be a great achievement to overcome, to constantly work, to overcome the ways in which we are trapped by our oppressed mind. Where the voices in our head, the narrative, the inner dialogue, other people's words and opinions keep us trapped, keep us small, because they won't understand it, right? We don't have to explain anything to anyone. And you might not agree with half the stuff that I say, but you get to lean into your journey however it's meant to be, because you're the only one who's going to shoulder the responsibility of it. You're the only one that's going to live into this experience and make it your own, right? You're the only one that's living this path. We all have our own path. We all have something similar in common, right? But we're all on our own path. And there was something that kind of came through. It'll come back. It'll have to come back. Okay, so what is opening for us? What is opening with this full moon? Ooh, passion and spirit connection. 100%. Okay. We've got balance and knowledge through something coming to an end. This is more, I'm going to talk a little bit. The divine feminines and masculines have a completely different relationship with source and how they interpret it, but it is just as strong. Okay. The feminines, and I talked a little bit about this in one of my other videos, where I kept thinking, like, if I just get good enough spiritually, I'm going to be able to reach more people. But most people are still stuck in the old world. They're stuck in the 3D, and that's not a world I've ever belonged to. A big part of breaking free from this imprisonment, which is, I feel this opening is going to help with this as well, is to embody your soul gifts. Embody your energetic gifts. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what you do. I don't care how you approach it, whatever. You need to connect to your soul and your soul's gifts. That's where your power is. Your power is not in the 3D reality. It's never been there. The 3D reality will always make you feel like you have to do 10 times more than everybody else just to get a seat at the table, because that's not your realm. That's not the master. That's not where you're to master. Okay. So whether you're fascinated by Reiki or divination or meditation or sound baths, or there's something here, okay, that you are being guided to fully focus on. Like, this is where you're going to put your energy. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job or quit at life. This is about you adding to life the elements that are actually in alignment with your natural flow and your natural frequency, okay? Your most natural, authentic self. You are here to activate and work your magic, but finding a way to connect with energy and understand it the way that you need to creates a whole other layer of existence for you that you need in order to feel empowered. Now, the masculines have, oh yeah, look at this, communications of all kind, okay? This is going to open up communication with source. This is also going to open up a different kind of communication with your person. Now, the divine masculines, their whole, this is so interesting. They've always been highly intuitive. They've always been very aware, but they didn't trust themselves. They didn't trust their intuition. They're opening to trusting their intuition. And that's going to be really powerful, I feel. Okay, so how are the higher realms helping us open to more passion? Okay, here's the thing. When you feel like you're kind of invincible and you can take on the world, you know, there's a lot of passion to be lived into. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've been probably a little bit too tired for passion these days, but there have been moments where I'm like, yes, this feels so good. We get to seek out those experiences, and it doesn't make us addicts. It makes us human and an evolved human. Okay. We got deep cellular healing. Okay. Arcturus, physical and emotional healing. That makes complete sense to me because, yeah, powerful places, ley lines, trust where you're led, following your passion, following your heart. Where are you being guided to? Where's your person being guided to? The higher realms are coming in to open us up, to connect even other people that are more like-minded and can hold space for us to expand without the competition, without the whatever it is that goes on in the 3D realm that we've never really been a part of and kind of gives us the ick. I feel like, I love that it talks about deep cellular, because this conditioning we have, what's being transformed is not just mental, it's physical. We feel it in our bodies. And it's emotional, and we're moving that emotion out of the physical body. Okay. I know this sounds very much like what a lot of people are going through, but this is in regard specifically to the pain and the conditioning and programming that you have in regard to your relationship with your person. It's something that is shared. Okay. I don't have time to go into it in this video. I do have a whole course on it, but I haven't put that out in a long time. Just helping people understand more about how the energy between twin flames and divine connections work. It's a little bit different for them, okay? But they work in tandem. But to understand that where this is going collectively, imagine being so physically and emotionally healed, you just get to flow with life and your person without any triggers, without any drama, just in a complete state of love and empowerment. And it doesn't mean you're not going to experience things that need to be shifted or what have you. You're just going to have a completely different perception about it, and you won't feel so victimized by it. Okay. You won't feel victimized by your person. They won't feel victimized by life. It's very, all right. How is this actually going to be experienced? I think I can go up here a little bit. Yeah. We're going to feel empowered with this energy. We might have to purge a little bit physically and emotionally first. Okay. I'm going to look at the challenges in a moment, but standing in our power, being conscious enough to stand in the awareness of what is really truly happening for us. And at the same time, allowing yourself to be like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. I don't want to experience this, right? You get to vocalize that. Here I am moving energy out, kids. Okay. What I feel, okay. What is going to be a bit of a challenge for us, more so in the physical or lower realms. Whoops. Jesus. Okay. No, that's funny. Trying to stay optimistic, okay? Your optimism is not required in order for you to stay on this trajectory. There could be some, let me just take a moment, and I'm going to actually put this up here for a second. Just moving stuff all over. Hopefully all the cards are on the table pretty well. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to stay optimistic when we don't have proof of things changing, okay? We don't have proof from our person. We don't have proof from the real world, whatever the real world is anymore. We're moving out of the real world, but it takes a bit, okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about belief systems. I know that gets boring. I know it's hard to wrap our heads around, but every reaction we have to anything is based on a belief system and the fear that comes from that belief system. And then we have a lot of spiritual overlay being like, you need to stay high vibrational or you're going to miss out. Okay. Somebody has taken some belief systems, given it some spiritual language, but that's just not true. Okay. I can tell you that I personally, if I reflect, I've received things even when I'm not high vibrational. Okay. That's not how it works, but we might struggle a little bit. We might have challenges that make us that are going to make us look at our belief systems and be like, is this serving the big picture I have in regard to this journey with this person, in regard to this journey with myself? And it's not about pulling your energy away from this person. It's not about pulling anything back or withholding because you're not getting what you need. That's a belief system that needs to be worked out. Okay. And for those of you, it's a timing thing. So you're going to have an experience that is going to help you understand this in a way that is beyond your control. But there could be belief systems, like, I don't know how many, even the Twin Flame blog, like I used to love looking at that stuff at the very beginning of my journey. But even still, she's like, if you're not in union, it's because you have blocks that you haven't fixed and you need my course. Okay? I know many, many people on this journey who have done an amazing amount of work on their blockages. It has nothing to do with how much you've done and how much you haven't done. I'm going to be really firm about that. But the problem is if you're tethering in, if you're focusing, giving your energy to these belief systems, it's only going to make you feel worse about yourself in this journey. And that's going to be a challenge. You're going to have to try to overcome that challenge by creating your own belief systems about yourself, about your experience. Sorry. I know these are not lined up perfectly, so just don't come at me. Okay. How are we going to receive support? Okay. Energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Yes. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to go a little bit more woo-woo than normal. So brace yourselves. Okay. This is something that, nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. This is going to be so important for the next 2 weeks, okay? Prioritizing yourself over other people. Prioritizing yourself over other stuff that's going on in the world, okay? You need to water your garden. Here's what I love about this. I've noticed that I tend to feel really kind of crappy if I spend too much time on social media, because I'm plugging in energetically, innocently, very unconsciously sometimes, to other people's, wherever they're at, whatever frequency they're at, and it lowers my frequency, and I feel that physically and emotionally. So the higher realms are going to help us detach from all that physical stuff, all that 3D stuff that isn't serving us, so we can be energetically sovereign enough to be clear about what is happening with ourselves, our person, and our journey. It's an elevated experience. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking to you about 3D love. This connection that you're in has never been about 3D love. It's never been that. And every time you've tried to put it in that box or operate within it as such, it has made things worse. I can guarantee it. It has never served you to treat it like it is a normal relationship. So we're going to go through this intense transformation so that we can be more sovereign in our energy and our beliefs about our connection with our person. Whatever union looks like for you, you might not even be able to imagine it. You just might be able to feel into it and know what you want to feel. That might have to be enough. Okay. So how is this going to play out in the future, right? In the future energy to come. I just want to get like an overall, we've got healing and grace. I don't know why that stood out. And trust. How do you argue with that? How do you argue with any of that? You can't. This transformation that we're going through with this full moon in Cancer is going to provide the healing we need to trust ourselves, to trust our person, to trust our path, to trust that this connection came into our lives to bring love and union. It's not to bring love and separation. It's not to bring, if it was a karmic situation, maybe even a soulmate that turned into a karmic situation, there probably was some awakening process. And did this person wake something up in you? Absolutely. But if they were really here to just wake you up and leave you alone, you would never have longed for them for this long. That is your soul and your heart. And people can come for me. I don't care. I don't care what they believe. This is what I know. This is what I know to be true based on what I've witnessed, experienced, and what's been shared with me through the collective of higher realms. Okay. So if you want to look at if you want to watch the extended, we're going to get into the divine feminine path, the masculine path, the soul connection aspect, and the physical union aspect. And the links are in the description box below. If you're still here, thanks for hanging out this long. I'm sending you all so much love, and take care.